Hey there friends, as you well enough know already, I am a big fan of calling out lies, calling out mistruths. But first, go check out my friends Attorneys on Retainer. I mentioned in a video a couple of weeks ago that insurance companies will keep you out of the poorhouse, but attorneys will keep you out of the big house. Attorneys on Retainer does just that. There are only 3 qualifiers for coverage. These are if you're charged with a crime, misdemeanor, or a felony, that you reasonably and in good faith assert self-defense as a defense to the criminal charge that you are being charged with. And of course, the third qualifier, you have to have already been a customer of Attorneys on Retainer prior to making that very important phone call to them. Go to attorneysonretainer.us. Again, attorneysonretainer.us. When you sign up, use my discount code FTATF and get a massive discount. Again, FTATF for huge savings, attorneysonretainer.us. A lot of you guys have probably already heard that the ATF has discontinued use and completely shut down the website for eForm processing for budgetary reasons. It may be the end of February, but it's only February of 2024. These guys have already exhausted the fiscal budget for 2024. According to a story by John Crump on AmmoLand News, eForms is the system that the ATF uses to process National Firearms Act NFA applications for things like silencers and short barrel rifles. The majority of NFA applications are submitted through the eForms system, which replaced paper forms. The vast majority of gun shops that sell NFA items are dependent on the eForms system to process forms. You guys will remember that if you go into a lot of these gun shops now, especially those that might deal in suppressors, you're going to see usually it's a silencer shop kiosk. They provide this kiosk, they provide the setup and all that kind of stuff to make it easier on you to process for suppressors. So that is where a lot of people have begun to get more NFA type items because they see more along the ease of it along the way. Instead of it being so intimidating and cumbersome to deal with, people realize this is not so bad sometimes. And again, this is not an argument about people asking for permission. I'm telling you the news about what happened regarding this and how all this works. Whether or not you are one of the people who supports asking to build your own silencer, suppressor, whichever, or your own SBR, that's on you. That's not what this video is about. So please, I don't want you guys attacking each other in the comment section. Oh, I'm not asking permission to, whatever. You know what I'm saying? We see it all the time. Let's talk about the actual facts and what's really going on right now. Regarding the eForms system going offline, AmmoLand News was able to verify the information with a third party that this was not an unscheduled outage and was planned by the ATF. The vendor responsible for eForms received notification that the system would be taken offline for, quote, congressional budgeting concerns. Now, as you guys know, we're met with yet another continuing resolution, a government pending shutdown, and all this kind of garbage. By the way, you can catch my Bite-Sized America pieces of video that I put out talking about things that most normal Americans do not realize because they don't teach history or civics worth a damn anymore. You can check the video out that we put out earlier today that actually talks about who gets paid on government shutdowns or during government shutdowns. But nevertheless, that funding for this eForm situation, that funding runs out this Friday, tomorrow. Congress specifically earmarks funding for the ATF eForm system to speed up the process. By shutting down the system, it appears that the ATF is ignoring the wishes of Congress and breaking the law. To many, this shows a government agency that is out of control and does not seem to be held accountable for its actions. We talk all the time about how the ATF cannot make law, only Congress can. But the ATF is an extension of the executive branch, which is the President of the United States. In this case, it's kind of Joe Biden, whoever's calling the shots behind Joe Biden. Obviously, that's who's really calling the shots and telling the ATF what to do. The ATF is thumbing its nose at Congress right now, and it's saying we're going to do whatever we want to. Regardless of whether or not you want to fund us, we decided to shut down the eForm website. Now, a quick side note that if the ATF decided that they needed even more money, which we're going to get into their budget here in a second, they can still provide, the Congress can still provide additional monies in this continuing resolution or whatever they're about to agree upon and sign that's going to bilk the American people out of money. According to Aiden Johnston with Gun Owners of America, Congress 100% can fix this situation with a budget. There's an amendment in the House ATF funding bill to do just that. And all they have to do is include it in the bill they're going to vote on by Friday. So Congress has already afforded the ATF a way to prevent them having to shut this website down for what they're calling congressional budget reasons. Unless Congress told the ATF to shut this website down, and I have a call in to one of my own congressmen here in this area to see if Congress told the ATF to shut this down. But if Congress did not tell the ATF to shut this down, Congress has literally written into this law that all the ATF has to do is come back to them and they'll request more money. And you know how this government works. If anybody asks more money, especially if you're Ukraine, you're going to get it. Now, in explaining their own strategy going forward for why they need these additional monies, which is a substantial increase in 2024, they go on to state some things that are not true and actually implicate the ATF. Investigating the illegal trafficking of firearms domestically and overseas remains a high priority, and the ATF operates enforcement groups to address firearms trafficking and violent crime along every United States border. Clearly, you don't need any additional monies under this lie that you say right here, because one, you guys in the ATF are the ones trafficking the guns south of the border. Don't put that on FFLs and everybody else. You guys are on record for doing that. It's proven. And nobody did anything to anybody. So you know why I know it's still going on? Because nobody got in trouble over it. So you just continue to do it because no one is policing you guys. And also, please miss me with the BS from the federal government that the government is doing anything to prevent anything negative from happening on our southern border. That is an absolute lie. Our southern border is worse than Swiss cheese. It's like no cheese. There is no kind of blockage on our southern border for anything illegal, including people from coming in. So please miss me with your grandstanding about how you need additional monies to help out on the southern border, because you're doing nothing there. I found it additionally comical that they were asking for money to, quote, include investments to realize the objectives of the BSCA. That's the Bipartisan Safer Communities Act. Yes, quote unquote, for sure. They need money to realize the objectives. So they need millions of dollars more to explain to you with fancy flowcharts, advertisements, maybe a YouTube short with some, transsexual guy drinking Bud Light, to explain to me, the little old idiot gun owner here, of how the money that everybody else is spending in other areas, including other countries, is really helping me out. You need a TikTok or an Instagram or something like that post to prove to me that you're doing a wonderful job. As an American, I really don't need that. So again, please miss me with this jibber jabber that you are doing something really cool and really effective with my money, because you have zero proof, and I can actually prove that your money that you took from us is doing no good. This one cracked me up. Additional funding and positions will allow the ATF to address the alarming surge in firearms violence in American communities. That's word for word what you had in the budget last year. This tells me that you are simply copying and pasting. You don't recognize if there really is a surge. It's just something really cool to put in there. And let me ask you another thing. Out of all these, let's see, the ATF claims that they have, let me get it here, guys, 25 domestic field divisions. Show me one in these communities that have this massive spike in these huge numbers in gun violence. I'll tell you where the communities are. If you use the Gun Violence Archives website, which I have already shown that the numbers are not accurate, but hey, you guys cite them. You guys, the federal government, cite these numbers. So you believe them, right? Am I wrong? Either you believe them or you don't. If you don't believe them, don't cite them, but you do. So you have confidence in this database. When I go and look and see where the amount of violence is coming from, this spike that you talk about, let me use your wording, this surge in firearms violence in American communities, you guys have the intel to pinpoint the city block that it's on. I can tell you what part of the city. I can tell you what city. You can tell me what block, down to the address that this happened. If you really want to do that, you're going to have to take a real hard look at pissing some people off, because the numbers you will reveal will show me that you're not doing anything. And back to those 25, what are you calling them again? Field divisions, domestic field divisions. How many of those offices are in the same zip code, the same area code as any of these massive spike or surge in these numbers that you speak of? You guys are saying that you're taxing yourselves with the responsibility to attack this surge in gun violence. Are those 25 domestic offices even anywhere near? I know they're going to be in some of these big cities. I get that. I realize that you probably have an office, one of these domestic offices near Baltimore. Where at in Baltimore? Where at? Anywhere where you're actually going to experience any of this, quote, gun violence that you speak of, my guess is you're not having to drive through anywhere where you have to roll your windows up and lock your doors to get to the ATF domestic building in that particular urban area. Look down where it says, through a new digital evidence management branch. That has got to scare the living daylights out of you reading that. Read it one more time. Some of this money they want that they're hiding under body-worn cameras speaks of a new digital evidence management branch. Let's not forget what digital evidence is. A picture of anything. Screenshot, photograph, doesn't matter. A picture of anything. Do you remember the close to 1 billion records that the ATF currently has illegally of Form 4473s, background checks of Americans? We're talking about close to 1 billion. By now, it's got to be over 1 billion. They were busted with almost 1 billion. That, my friends, is digital evidence. They are building an entire branch according to their own budget and their own numbers to house their own digital evidence. That should scare the crap out of you. And you and I are paying for it. And look at the last thing they put in here. Zero emission vehicles. You know that failed project that we have currently here in the United States of electric vehicles? You know how all these automobile manufacturers are bailing out on this stupid EV program? They would have all been bankrupt by now if the federal government was not supplying them money to offset their losses. This is a failed project. The federal government is doubling down, knowing that the EV system, the infrastructure, and the vehicles themselves are not meant to be right now. You cannot invest your entire effort into this system. This is a proven fact. This is not my opinion. That's why everybody else is bailing on it. The federal government is literally doubling down, knowing all of this. This is absolute virtue signaling. That's all it is. They know it's not going to work, and they're still doubling down on it because they can say, I'm green. Look at me. Look how green we are. Yay. The only thing, in my opinion, that I will ever allow my tax dollars to be a part of that's going to be all electric will be a freaking border wall. Something is afoot with the purposeful shutdown of this eForms system. I truly believe there is going to be a direct link to this body-worn cameras item talking about their new digital evidence management branch. I truly believe they are setting this system up to include a lot of other stuff, and it means they have maintenance to do on their website in order to do this. What better way to enhance your own system, your own illegal system, by taking a, quote, legal system of the NFA and doing a backdoor conversion and update and upgrade to the system to allow an illegal registration system to work under it. I mean, you already have all the mechanisms of registration in there already, right? You already have the person's name, address, serial numbers. You have everything you would need, and the general public knows you have this because, again, they opt into this. Well, why reinvent the wheel? Just take that same blueprint and apply it to an illegal database that they can create. Don't think they're not doing this. Don't think there's not server-related issues to beef this thing up. Because remember, I'm going to go back to their new digital evidence management branch. I think all of these things are tied. I do not think this is a conspiracy. The ATF has made a decision to shut this down on their own, and we know it's not because of money. We know it's not because of money. If nothing else, the deadline to receive that money or to get an advance on that money is tomorrow, and they've already shut it down. So it ain't about money because the money hasn't run out yet.
God save the Queen, man.
I'm sorry, I thought this was America.
It's over!